ladies and gentlemen of all ages, boys and girls. Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Angry Meat Production. We appreciate you coming in and letting us be a part of your lives week in and week out. We hope to do our best to present you with something that your eardrums delight in. Whether you're looking at us on YouTube or Rumble, or listening to us on Spotify, Google, or Anchor, or any of the other podcast services that we are currently on or trying to get on. We thank you. And if you don't mind, at the end of every episode, stop by, leave us a comment, leave us a like. If it asks for 5 stars, we'll take 5 stars, even if you don't like us. 5 stars are what it's all about. With that being said, we hope you enjoy our attempt to make our advocation our vocation. Ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin.
Welcome, Angry Faithful. On this Nerd Sports, we're going to talk about the interesting race that I found out just recently, the outhouse race. It's where people build outhouses and race them down the street. It was actually invented in 1993.
So I thought that would have been something where Taco Bell was involved.
You think, really? You honestly think
That's a whole different.
But no, they just build these outhouses and they put it's kind of like a sled.
These daring engineers are fueled throughout the course of the night with that Baja Blast Mountain Dew, right?
Yeah. I was like looking at, I was like, man, I'm doing like what we're at, like 108 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, I'm going to have to probably repeat some of these weird sports that I found. And I saw that one, was like, yes, I found a new one that I hadn't talked about.
Like just watch a couple of episodes of how it's made. And they talk about how they make the clubs or the mitts for these like off the wall kind of like obscure little sports that are like exclusive to like France or Spain. Dude, it's crazy. Yeah. Anyway, so see, when you said outhouse racing, first thing I thought of was those soapbox derby cars that Red Bull sponsors where you do the downhill slalom.
It's almost the same thing. I mean, these are actually.
Could you imagine tipping over one of those outhouses?
You don't use it first.
I don't care. No, I think no. I think that if you're gonna go not with the wooden outhouses like we see in the Wild West, we're talking like the blue jump towers, dude. You know, filled with the blue water after a concert festival.
Oh,
that just reminds
me. Really put a premium on suspension and steering.
That just reminds me of the Woodstock 97.
Oh,
they were like playing in the mud and everything. It was right next to the outhouses or the porta potty.
I know the mud wasn't actually mud, right?
They were all leaking and overflowed, and
yeah, it was shit. They were like splitting around and shit.
Yeah. You know, I love it when David phrased that. He goes, "It makes me remember Woodstock '97." It's like he's talking about it from a firsthand experience. He's no shit. There I was.
Oh, there was shit though.
It was like there was all the shit. There I was.
There was plenty of it.
I gotta.
I was neck deep in it.
Speaking of
I got a pink eye you wouldn't believe. I almost went blind. That's how bad the pink eye was.
Can't even imagine the hepatitis infection he got from that.
Yeah.
Ugh. Well, in the world of baseball, I'm gonna bring up something a little close to home for you, David.
That's a little bit too much. It's a little bit too close. I don't know if I want to feel this right now. Oh wait, I don't really pay attention to sports.
Well, much like a lot of your preachers and teachers, you don't have a choice.
Actually,
last night the Cardinals completed a 3-game sweep of the Red Sox at Fenway Park, and well, it was a 2-run game. It was a 2-run. It was a 2-run game when Ryan Brazier, Wichita Falls' own Ryan Brazier, was brought in from the bullpen to hold. Well, he gave up a lot of runs last night, and the final last night was 9-1. So when I wake up this morning, I check Twitter because I get a notification, and what do my eyes see? Ryan Brazier designated for assignment. His time in a Red Sox uniform is officially over. Much to the delight of a majority of Red Sox Nation. The running joke is that with all of these other cuts that were being made, Ryan Brazier was still there. He still had a job. And a lot of people thought that it was just because he had dirt on John Henry or the rest of the ownership group. And, well, yeah. Lady Luck ran out on him last night. And so if you see Ryan Brazier walking around town, tell him to keep his chin up. There's always Japan. Again, because, that's where he went before he came back to the States. It was fun while it lasted. It was cool to have somebody represent the 940 in the World Series. You'll forever be known as the guy that told Gary, oh God, I can't remember his name, Gary Sanchez, to get back in the fucking box, Gary, before striking him out. So there you go. Hang your hat on that one, guy. But moving on. Not a lot of baseball news. Other than that,
the only new,
I mean, Bryce Harper was ready to fight the entire Colorado Rockies team last night.
I've seen that.
He got ejected because, I mean, he was screaming, telling people all in their dugout that they are a loser organization and they always have been. I'm like, well, to be fair, Bryce, they have just as many World Series appearances and losses as you do, so that's one. So I don't know, maybe look in the mirror before you call the kettle black, right?
Yeah.
Kenley Jensen, the closer for the Red Sox, he picked up his career 400th save the other night, on Thursday night before this last series over the weekend with the Cardinals. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty historic. Not a ton of baseball news.
No.
Let me see here.
Oakland A's reached agreement to develop Tropicana site for 30,000 seats in Las Vegas Stadium.
Yeah. But don't use the word Tropicana right now. Why? And I'll tell you. It's because Tropicana Field, where the Rays currently play in St. Petersburg, but they call themselves Tampa Bay, is quite possibly next to Oakland Coliseum, the biggest dump in the major leagues. The Rays have been lobbying the local officials there for years to try to get a new stadium. Nobody wants to play in an actual dome. The catwalks are, the catwalks that line the ceiling on the inside of Tropicana Field are in play. And let's just say, for example, somebody pops up high enough to hit one of the catwalks, it's a ground rule double.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't matter if the ball comes down and the fielder catches it. It's an automatic ground rule double.
That's one thing that, because I watched how like the fields are different for each franchise. Just a design period. I don't know why they just don't like, hey, we're gonna have to stick with this design.
Well,
This is how.
Okay, so initially St. Petersburg, Florida was going to be, back in the 90s, they were going to be the front runner to get the Seattle Mariners, because Seattle Mariners, their attendance was down. They were trying to get out of the Kingdome, trying to open up Safeco Field. and the city of Seattle wasn't really working with them. There was an ownership issue. Nintendo of America and eventually came in and bought a majority stake in the club, um, keeping it in Seattle. But they built this almost a one-off of the Kingdome and said, "Hey, Mariners, you can come play here." Um, and when Seattle stayed in Seattle, MLB awarded St. Petersburg their own expansion club, Tampa Bay Devil Rays. They were the doormat for years until they finally figured out how to build a pitching rotation and stock their farm club with pitching arms. But football news. Let me see here. The Arlington. What are they called? The Arlington. The XFL team. Anyway, the team from Arlington won the XFL championship last Saturday, or this past Saturday. So, football fans in the Arlington area, you have a champion at least. Just kind of putting that out there.
It's kind of amazing.
I mean, I love my Cowboys. Don't get me wrong, but we're looking at you guys. 100%.
Cowboys.
Step up your game. I mean, if the XFL can bring a championship to Arlington, maybe the NFL Cowboys can. Well, let's see here.
Hopes and dreams in Texas aren't mattered much. So,
not lately, anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So let me see here.
I mean, the only person that has skin in the game with the Cowboys is Chris. It's only because he works Black Rifle Coffee.
I was trying to say, I think, and there was Matt Ryan finally did retire from the NFL, and he is he's joining CBS. He's going to be an analyst. He's going to work with them. He's going to do some other shows for CBS, but he's saying that this is not a retirement. So I don't know. I mean, I really don't see any teams out there with the quarterback stock that just came out of this draft, and with the free agents that are floating around, really desperate to sign somebody who fails to close the deal routinely. I mean, when Matty Ice got ran out of Atlanta for going exactly that, ice cold, I mean, he just kind of bounced around until he landed in Indianapolis and decided after 2 years he was going to hang up his cleats. And I don't know, but he says this isn't a retirement, so I don't know. Maybe he's trying to channel his inner Tom Brady. I don't know. But speaking of Tom Brady, Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, has invited Tom Brady to the home opener at Gillette Field this year, or Gillette Stadium rather, this year. And I don't know. There's a lot of talk on Twitter and Facebook and Reddit, places like that it would just be funny as hell. Not Matt Ryan. What is his name? Holy crap. Mac Jones, the quarterback for the New England Patriots now. He there was a meme that was put out. This is the look on your face when Tom Brady is invited for the home opener and he runs out of the tunnel in full pads, right? And it's just got him sitting on a bench with his head hanging between his legs. I thought it was hilarious. I would think I would love for that to be the one opportunity to be presented for Tom Brady to maybe, come out, sign up. They do those ceremonial 1-day contracts where, a longtime player for a franchise can retire as that. I would love to see that happen. I mean, that's where, Tom Brady, I mean, he built and cemented his legacy as the GOAT in New England. I would love to see him retire officially as a New England Patriot. Just if anything else, just for the fans, I mean, they bought tickets, they bought your jerseys, they stayed with you through all the interceptions, through all the the fumbles, the losses, and definitely through the 6 Super Bowl championships. But I think that'd be something kind of cool. And
what's sad?
your sex life?
No, it's you can't be sad about something that doesn't actually exist. No, I was trying
Sad.
to find that. I was trying to find all the information on that one guy that got one football player that he either he was in college or he was in an NFL that he got accused of like uh a gang bang or some shit like that.
Oh, he was a punter. They called him the punt god. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the
But-
charges were all dropped.
Yeah, because he wasn't even there.
The charges were dropped, but here's the thing: the damage to his character's already been done,
Exactly.
and it's sad that that's what we're having to deal with.
Yeah. But what's
I mean,
really
is
sad?
it impossible for him to make a comeback? No, definitely not. I mean, the guy made an 80-yard punt in the one preseason appearance that he made.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody's looking at him like, oh wow. I mean, we got ourselves a punter. And then all of this stuff comes out, and all the charges were dropped because there was no substantial evidence found. The story from the accuser just kind of fell apart, and so whether or not the NFL decides that they're going to reinstate him, fine, great. If they do, I mean, that would be common sense. But whether or not anybody's going to actually pick him up is yet to be seen. Again, because the damage to his character has already been done.
I'm gonna butcher his name here, but it's Matt Areza.
Yeah, there you go. Very good.
Now, saying that though, I was trying to find the news article that I was looking for. I just typed in call it. I just put in sex scandal in the NFL. Dear God, there's like hundreds of them.
Narrow it
Dude,
down.
You
Be way more specific, dude.
Yeah.
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 I mean, any college course in basic English and composition will tell you have to refine your search parameters.
Well, yeah. I thought it was like recent news, and I got like recent news articles of other sex scandals in the NFL.
If we were going to devote our time, if we were going to devote any block or segment of an episode to sex scandals and players in the NFL, that would be a series of episodes.
Yes.
That's just the NFL too.
Just the NFL.
Just looking
The
at
NBA
all
in there.
yeah.
Get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah, good times. I'm not gonna I very rarely hit on this, but the NBA playoffs are underway. I mean, they have been for a while now. The Boston Celtics, the number 2 seeded Boston Celtics, forced a game 7 against the Philadelphia 76ers. It was played at TD Garden in Boston. And wow, I mean, that game, dude, was ridiculous. Jason Tatum went off for 51 points in game 7 in
Damn.
Oh my God, stop with the noise. Hold on. Yep, we're pausing that. Okay. But yeah, he went off for 51 points in game 7 at TD Garden the other night or last night. So now the conference finals are set. The LA Lakers are going to play the number 1 seeded Denver Nuggets, and the number 8 seeded Miami Heat are going to play the number 2 seeded Boston Celtics. I would love to see Denver and Boston go for the finals. Mostly, yeah. I mean, I want Denver to beat LA because LeBron. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I got off of this was the Suns fired head coach Morty Williams after the NBA playoffs elimination. Apparently, he wasn't pulling his weight.
Well, it's all about the results, man.
Yeah.
And the coach is always going to be the first one to go. So, but I mean, I would love to see LeBron be relegated to ineptitude and irrelevancy during this conference final, just simply due to the fact that I am sick and tired of seeing all of these millennials and I don't know, whatever the new generation's called, the Gen A people. They're like, oh, LeBron is the greatest basketball player ever. And I'm sitting there going,
Like Michael Jordan doesn't exist at all.
I went and got a haircut
Pippen was even better than
last week when I was at the VA hospital. And I sit down in the chair and there is a poster on the wall in the barber shop. It's got LeBron and it's got Kobe and it's got MJ. And I'm like, I got to say something. I was like, LeBron's got no business being on that poster.
No, he's
Like,
like in the same room.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that the guy that was cutting my hair was a LeBron fan. And I'm like, I said, dude, LeBron James wants to be so much like Michael Jordan that if he knew who his dad was, he'd pay somebody to have them murder him on a county road somewhere. Just so he could have that in common with Michael Jordan.
Right.
Jesus.
He's like, man, LeBron's got more career points than MJ does. And I was like, well, yeah, when you come out of high school to play.
Michael Jordan had a fight to get in the NBA.
Yep. No, he was drafted like number 3. Yeah. Do yourself a favor.
He went David. Through
Prime. It's on Prime. Watch the movie. Hey, watch the movie Air.
That's where I got it from.
No, he got cut from his high school team.
Oh, okay.
Okay. He and
high school is basically NBA, right?
Mm-mm.
I mean, it just depends on, where you go to school at. I'm not going to name any names, but their initials might be South Lake Carroll. But I mean, yeah, or what was that movie, Blue Chips? You remember that one? Had Nick Nolte and Shaquille O'Neal in it.
Oh yeah.
But so I'm tired of the comparison.
Yeah.
LeBron, if he were to play back in the 90s, would he be a good scorer? Possibly, yeah. But the amount of flopping that he would do would earn him a couple of broken legs.
This is true.
It really would. Because you'd get, like people like Dennis Rodman or I forget was it Ron Artest before he changed his name to Meta World Peace. Would have nothing to do with LeBron James. He comes up and they plant their feet and put their hands down, so that way they're not. You're going to see LeBron kind of charge, try to drive in, and then he's going to flop back. Ron Artest would just go over there and knock him out right there on the floor.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman.
Charles Barkley would beat the fuck out of him.
Dennis Rodman would turn LeBron into a new Prince Albert piercing.
Yeah.
I'm
mentally
mentally he's
like
not
he would
there.
have to be. He had to be. Just think of that game. He had to be carried off the court because of a freaking cramp, and he was bitching and crying because the air conditioning went out. It was 80 something on the floor. Yeah, and then you got like you say, you got the GOAT playing an NBA Finals game, winning an NBA Finals game with 104, 103 fever.
Yeah, he had the flu.
Yeah, it was against the Utah Jazz. Was it the Cavaliers or the Jazz? I can't remember. But he played a game. He had like 102 fever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And won. And
yeah.
And he was the reason they won too.
Yeah. That was the game-winning shot. That was the buzzer beater.
Yep.
But man, no, we watched Air over the weekend, and that was an excellent movie. And it was driving my sister-in-law nuts because, the kid that they cast to play Michael Jordan, you never saw his face.
Yeah.
Not once in the movie.
There's a reason for that.
Well, I get that. And Mindy and I were both telling her, it's about the shoe. And she's like, yeah, but that's got to piss that kid off. Like, he gets to play Michael Jordan in a movie, but nobody sees his face.
Okay. Here's the thing on that. He gets to play Michael Jordan, but he probably worked it in there. It's like, I don't want people to say anything that I'm playing Michael Jordan because of the basic fact is they're going to compare me, they're going to downgrade me and everything like that. He saved his own ass.
Well, whatever the reason is, it was a good movie.
Like having it's like the new thing right now is having a black Cleopatra. And everything shoots down to Cleopatra being, Egyptian, more
Yeah.
Greek looking.
Cleopatra was black. No, she was Mesopotamian.
Yeah.
All right. So, before we get to the NHL real quick, I'm going to give Colin a call real quick. You guys can hear that, right?
No, not.
Let me do this.
There we go.
I heard that.
Hello.
Hello, what's up, guy?
Hi.
Got some jokes.
Okay. All right. So while you're getting all that prepared here, ladies and gentlemen, this next segment is brought to you by Mobile Notary Mindy, my wife. Yes, it's a shameless plug, but I don't care. It's our show, Annie Nanny Boo Boo. She's certified with the National Notary Association. She's bonded to $100,000. She's E&O certified or insured. She has a Facebook page. She has an Instagram. She also has a TikTok page specifically for her notary business. She is Google verified. She is also commissioned to do remote online notary, or better known as RON. She will be offering some remote notarizations in coming up in June. If you are local in the area, specifically Brazoria County, at least right now, the last 2 Saturdays in the month of May, she is offering free general notary work to veterans, for coming around the Memorial Day weekend. I really need to write this down so that way I can read it verbatim and I don't have to ad lib it as much. But yeah, give her a look, or give her look her up. She also does I-9 verifications, advanced healthcare directives, HIPAA waivers, assignment of personal property, certification of trusts, living wills, healthcare proxies, medical documents, will or powers of attorney, and wills. So, without further ado, good Lord, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, angry faithful of all ages, that time in our lives has approached. The bell has tolled. Dawn has broken. Across the vast landscape, cratered, smoking, the carnage that was left behind leaves us wondering, will humanity stand a chance of rebuilding itself? Look no further. Hailing from the deepest, darkest reaches of my nether regions, my genetic code, a savage samurai with no master to call his own. He is a Ronin, here to make you question your morality, your ethics, to make you laugh at things that you know you have no business laughing at. It is that time, once again, for the all-important joke time with Colin.
What do you call a person who runs away from Jeffrey Dahmer? Fast food.
I had a feeling that it was something like that.
I knew it was going off the rails immediately as soon as he said Jeffrey Dahmer.
Okay.
Why can't you be in a relationship with somebody that is cross-eyed?
Oh no.
Because they're always seeing somebody on the side.
Oh,
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh, wow. Okay. Was that it?
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious.
That was it?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right.
I'm trying to edit this thing for a school project.
Oh, well, then let me go ahead and do your outro, and I'll let you get back to it.
Mm-hmm.
That school is important.
Yeah, school is important. Yeah. He is looking forward to this weekend for a couple of reasons. One, yes, he gets to come and visit his dear old dad, but he finally gets to get his hands on his very own physical copy of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, to include the brand new Link amiibo.
Dude, I've been staying off TikTok, so no spoilers.
And as an added surprise, he's also getting the Link amiibo from the Twilight Princess.
Really?
And the pre-order bonus, it's like a wooden plaque thing or whatever. I haven't even touched my physical copy yet. I haven't even taken it out of the shrink wrap, just because I've been playing the dog snot out of Far Cry 6. But anyways, you must consider like, you must consider yourself blessed. For your soul has now been enriched. The knowledge that has been imparted upon you is being entrusted to you as an individual, so that you may take the lessons learned from today back with you to your unit to help further its air assault mission off into the smoke, into the haze, disappearing like a popcorn fart in the wind. My genetic code, everybody. You have been privy, nay, you have been privileged to experience Joke Time with Colin. I'll see you later, bud.
Love you.
Love you too. Later.
Bye.
Okay.
Now, do we want to get a? I got some news because it just popped into my thing. It's kind of old news, but it's still news, and it'll be we could either do it at What the Hell or we could do it on here.
What the hell did you just say?
Okay,
It's kind of old news, but it's sort of new news.
okay.
And it just popped in there. Like, where is there? And if it's in there, I don't want it anywhere near us.
Has it been sanitized first?
No. It's about Daniel Penny, the ex-Marine charged with fatally choking Jordan Neely from the New York City subway.
Yeah, go ahead and put the blurb out. We might approach that subject as part of a What the Hell.
Well, we're gonna do it Thursday.
There's so many different sources on that story. So many.
Yeah. Well, the whole, honestly,
he was helping a police officer with an apprehension, wasn't he? And now the New York District Attorney.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't any apprehension or anything like that. What had happened? This is the whole story. Okay. I know the full story about it, but what had happened was Jordan Neely, Jordan Neely is a mentally disturbed person. He was on the subway. He literally held a girl sitting next to him. He's like, "You sit there. You sit there. You stay with me." And he was causing a ruckus and everything. And then finally, like 3 people, Daniel put him in a chokehold. He was alive after the chokehold. He didn't die until he was at the hospital. But he was stopped by 5 to 6 people trying to hold him down because he was just very unresponsive to
To borrow a very un-PC phrase, he's got that retard strength.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But they ended up taking him to the hospital. He ended up dying in the hospital from a heart attack. Apparently, he was on a shit ton of drugs, but they still.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. It was like it was totally weird. But it's the whole George Floyd thing. Guy was a piece of shit, and now everybody's like, well, he was mentally he was black, and he was mentally disturbed and everything, and they just killed him. No, they didn't just kill him. He died in the hospital without anybody touching him. It was literally the drugs that killed him. He OD'd. But they went to right now you can go to Daniel Penny's GoFundMe.
Well, here's the thing.
He's facing
the New York District Attorney's Office is going to have to prove beyond the reasonable doubt that there was intent to harm. I mean, he was performing what amounts to as a Good Samaritan act.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that Good Samaritan acts, it's like, okay, like you're protected from lawsuits by trying to render first aid. I get all that. But I mean, he was trying to help restrain somebody who was creating physical harm,
yeah,
to the general public. Now, I mean, did he need to put the guy in the guillotine? Probably not. I mean,
God.
No, before hold on.
Go ahead.
Do I think that the New York District Attorney took a really big L when he had to drop the case against former President Trump? At this point now, he's just looking for somebody to make it, to hang his career stats on.
Yeah,
that's all he's doing. Mm-hmm. And when you get these district attorneys and they're on both sides of the aisle, I mean, John Gillespie with the Wichita County District Attorney, he ran as a Republican. That guy, I'm telling you, okay, he has maybe one good case, and like with the Anthony Patterson thing that's going on there, right? I mean, why did they not petition the judge to deny bail? I mean, he was allowed to bond out of jail. I don't get it. I mean, I get that constitutionally and legally, bond should not be used as a weapon of oppression. But at this point, it's about keeping the general public safe, and to an extent, keeping the person that you're trying to prosecute safe.
Yeah.
With pedophilia being, trying to be, with forces in our public, trying to normalize and trying to popularize pedophilia.
Unless you're in Florida.
Yeah. I mean, there's still a majority of Americans out there that, would throat punch a pedophile quicker than they can blink, myself included. But I think at this point, I think with this particular case, it's just the New York DA is just trying to make a name for himself. He's trying to make face after having to wipe the yoke off of his face after President Trump got done with him. But
yeah,
all that aside, moving back into sports news, the Seattle Kraken and the Dallas Stars are going to play. I think it's Game 7 tonight, for a chance to go play in the Western Conference Final.
Go Stars.
Yeah, the winner of tonight's game is going to face the Las Vegas Golden Knights, because they finished off Edmonton in Game 6 last night, 5-2. The last time that a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup, it's been over 30 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't they make the sport?
Well, the NHL is headquartered in Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, it's traditionally been known as a Canadian sport, Russian sport, a European sport kind of a thing. Um, like Finland, Norway, places like that. Um, but yeah, I would love to see the Stars advance to the conference final. I would love to see the Stars embarrass Vegas.
It's gonna be a tough game, though.
It is. It's going to be a tough game. Seattle is surprisingly good.
It'd be so nice if we can get the Stanley Cup back in Dallas.
But here's the thing. Regardless as to who faces, who represents the Western Conference in the Stanley Cup final, right now the odds-on favorite are the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah.
I mean, they are without a doubt probably top to bottom one of the last team that's in the tournament that's probably the closest thing that can be considered balanced. Both offensively, defensively. I mean, they're a bad group. I'm just saying, and I say that as a Bruins fan. So, but the only thing I've got left is NASCAR. That was throwback weekend at Darlington this weekend for the Goodyear 400. Ross Chastain made his fucking name known again. The only person that he hadn't seemed to have bumped into in the field yet was Kyle Larson, and well, he managed to do that this weekend. He fenced Kyle Larson earlier in the day. Kyle Larson battled back, caught up with Chastain. There was Kyle Larson was actually leading the race by a lot. When a late with a caution with about 16 laps to go was brought out. Chastain started. He was scored in second after the pit stops. On the restart, you get to choose. The choose cones. So you get to choose where you're going to line up inside or outside. Everybody was like, the outside gives you the momentum and everything like that. The inside, you can really kind of control your own destiny because you can control the throttle going into and coming out of the first turns 1 and 2. Kyle Larson decided he was going to take it upon himself to start on the inside, and on that restart, both him and Ross Chastain got a pretty decent start coming up out of the zone. Ross Chastain was in the gas before Kyle Larson was and crossed the start-finish line before Larson did, and NASCAR seemed to let that go. Officially, the rule is that the leader has to be the first one to start, right? Well, Ross Chastain was the first one in the gas, and that was supposed to be a no-no, but powers that be decided that they were going to let it slide. All right, great. So going into turns 1 and 2, Kyle Larson squeezes Ross Chastain a little bit and puts him in the wall, right? Doors him right up into the wall, sandwiches him there. They're fighting back and forth, and Kyle Larson gets out in front of him. Another caution comes out. And this time, Ross Chastain was scored in first because they had to go back to the previous scoring loop. So he chose to start on the inside. Well, they start. Kyle Larson's on the outside. But here comes Ross Chastain trying to squeeze Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson's trying to back out of the throttle a little bit. And Ross Chastain comes up, and you can pull the video up. It's glorious. Ross Chastain comes up to squeeze, right? His right rear quarter panel catches on Kyle Larson's left front, right? And turns Chastain nose first into the wall. And instead of letting out of the throttle to where Kyle Larson can kind of duck down and go around him, he gassed it and pushed Chastain sideways 3/4 of the way down the back straightaway.
Yes.
Um,
Right where you should be.
Right, exactly. And so Kyle Larson finally lifted out of the throttle, ducked down underneath Chastain, and went into turn 3, and immediately proceeded to call Chastain a hack over the radio.
No.
William Byron, who drives the number 24 car for Hendrick Motorsports, he ended up picking up the win, and it was the 100th victory for the 24 car.
Damn.
So it was William Byron's 7th overall career victory, and it was victory number 296 for Hendrick Motorsports. They are 4 victories away from the all-inclusive 300 club, which no team in the history of the sport has ever gotten even close to. Hendrick Motorsports right now leads NASCAR all time in number of victories. But it was Kyle Larson's race to lose, and Chastain for the 3rd time took Kyle Larson out of a race in the later stages.
It's like he's going for something.
Well, and then of course Chastain comes out, and for whatever reason, there are members of the media that want to dub him the next Dale Earnhardt, and I call bullshit on that, because nobody will ever be Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah.
Nobody will even amount to even coming close. The best that Chastain could hope for is that he gets dubbed the next Rusty Wallace, and I'm just like, or maybe we can go maybe just a little bit more obscure than that, but I don't want to sully the name of Buckshot Jones, just simply one, because that's a great race driver's name, right?
Right.
But Buckshot Jones never, if memory serves, never got any career victories in the what was then the Busch Series. He used to drive the 00 car, Buckshot double aught. See what he did there? That was pretty clever. I mean, the best that Ross Chastain could hope for is maybe an angry 14-year-old driving Legends cars.
Chance.
But I'm just not a Chastain fan. I'm really not. I mean, people think that people want to say that, oh, his personality is great for the sport, blah, 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 blah. But these same people that are saying, well, for a majority of them anyway, that are saying that his personality is good for the sport, are also comparing him to Dale Earnhardt, or the late Dale Earnhardt Sr. And yeah, again, I'm calling bullshit on that. Dale Jr. himself has said that, he likes his personality, thinks that it's good for the sport. I can agree, but I can also agree to disagree on part of that, because he needs to understand that he is not making friends out there. And, when you are a manufacturer-backed team like Trackhouse Racing is, there's pecking orders, right? You don't wreck other Chevrolets, right? And Rick Hendrick, the owner of Hendrick Motorsports, was giving his post-race interview in the media center, and he said, I don't care. I have a loyalty to a Chevrolet, and I always will. But if you wreck us, we're going to get you back. And he said, I'll deal with the fallout later. He said, but you're not going to wreck my guys. You're not going to tear up my cars and expect to get away with it.
Exactly.
But next weekend is the NASCAR All-Star Race weekend. It is going to be held at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. First time that we've been back at that track since 1993. Bruton Smith, who owns tracks like, the Smith family owns tracks like Texas Motor Speedway, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He bought North Wilkesboro, and he was like, just let it go to the ground, let it go to waste. We'll never race there again. And one of Bruton's sons, who owns iRacing, is friends with Dale Jr. Dale Jr. was flying over North Wilkesboro to Las Vegas actually that weekend, and he's like, I got an idea. And so he calls his buddy up and he goes, I want to scan North Wilkesboro into the game. And he's like, well, the only way that's going to happen is if we clean up the surface. And so Junior put it out on Twitter, and the response was overwhelming. It was a February, it was cold, wet, rainy, and there were people out there with blow torches, edgers, front end loaders. I mean, they had a pile of weeds and brush that was big enough to light a control fire with.
Mm.
And they got the track surface clean enough to where the iRacing could go out the next time that it was dry, and they scanned the entire surface back into the game. So at least at that point, North Wilkesboro would live on, at least in a digital format. Right. But then the Junior decided that he was going to try to go one better. He got with the owners of North Wilkesboro and was like, hey, what if we brought actual racing back to the track, and so they organized it was last year. It was like the entire month of October, I think it was, where they had 30 straight days of racing.
Mm-hmm.
Every night of the month had a different race. And the whole month culminated with a Cars Tour race that Dale Jr. himself drove in.
Nice.
He drove the number 3 Sundrop late model modified, and ended up placing like 4th or 5th or something like that. Way better than he thought he was gonna place. But I mean, people got turned away from the track because traffic was so backed up trying to get into it. People were getting there 45 minutes after the event started.
Jesus.
Right. The amount of money that was generated just on the pay-per-views alone, because there's now streaming services out there that are devoted to short track and dirt track racing. They go to all these different tracks around the country, and they record the races, and or they broadcast the races, and you can pick which ones you want to watch. Right.
That's cool.
And it's been a real shot in the arm for these different series around the country. It's really brought some much needed spotlight to some of the grassroots, people out there not racing for a hobby. They're out there racing to pay their bills.
Yeah.
And then Junior in turn has had a lot of these different drivers come onto his podcast, and he's interviewed them, and there are a lot of them had really great stories to tell. And so I mean, if there was one thing I could kind of put my finger on and say that there's one sport that I love just as much as baseball, it would have to be racing. And it's just, I mean, I grew up every weekend. My dad had NASCAR on, and for whatever reason, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I just saw the black number 3, and that was my guy. So I mean, I grew up an Earnhardt fan. Grew up watching NASCAR. My dad, when we lived in Nevada, when my dad was stationed in Fallon, Nevada, he worked on a sprint midget car with a guy that he was in the Navy with, and we would spend days out of the week during the summer, weekends, all the time out at this guy's, out at this guy's place, out in the middle of BFE, and they were just turning wrenches on this sprint car, and they would take it out every Friday night, every Saturday night to the track, and run it, try to bring home a little bit of money, and then they would just take that money and sink it right back into the car. But it's I mean, racing's been around for as long as there's been a second automobile, right? So I mean, at least auto racing is. And the first competitive car race or automobile race was in Chicago, and it was sponsored by Valvoline. So I'm looking forward to to the All-Star race. It's wreckers or checkers. It's $1 million for first place. And it's going to be cool to see some of the paint schemes that are going to be brought. I mean, this is Kevin Harvick's last year, and I don't know if you remember this, Chris, or not, but Kevin Harvick, he was the replacement driver for Dale Earnhardt Sr. in 2001. And instead of having him run the number 3 car, he ran the number 29. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So that paint scheme that he ran in Atlanta, where it was the white car with the red 29,
Yeah.
that's the paint scheme he's running. He's running the 29 next weekend
Oh hell yeah.
in the All-Star race.
That's
So, I mean, if anything else, man, I'm gonna, I want to pull for Kevin Harvick just because he's running that 29. But I mean, obviously, I'm going to be conflicted because I'm going to they're my Hendrick guys, but then there's Kevin Harvick, But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a cool race. I mean, the way that North Wilkesboro is set up is that when you're running down the front straightaway into turns 1 and 2, you're actually running downhill. And then when you come out of turn 2, back straightaway or the back stretch, all the way into turns 3 and 4, you're running uphill. So the track sits like this.
Yeah.
So brakes are going to be a premium going into turn 1. So I mean, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch. The owners at North Wilkesboro said, "Be ready for a trip back in time." So what they did is they did renovate the track. The original racing surface, for the most part, is still there. Just because guys love running on old asphalt, right? Because it ages and it just grips the tires certain different way.
Yeah.
They've taken a lot of the wooden bleachers out and they put in the aluminum ones, things like that. But a lot of the paint scheme, a lot of the paint, the way that it was there, I mean, there's still a sign there that says Winston Cup Series.
They better put guards on that thing.
They left that there. The original scoring pylon in the infield, they left it as it is, right? But instead of changing out the thousands of light bulbs that it would take to make it work perfectly again, they've integrated LED boards into the original scoring pylon.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, I mean, it's just going to be awesome. And if you remember, and you look back at the old stock footage or stock photos of when we ran at North Wilkesboro, the retaining fence had the red and white kind of like dashes, right? It was broken up, red, white. Well, obviously they had to cover that up when they put in, because they have to put in those safer barriers. But the safer barrier wall is painted like the original wall is.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's going to be great. I mean, it's one of those just original tracks, where just like I think the only person actually, I mean, there is not going to be a single driver that's going to be in this field next weekend that drove on that track when the series was competing there. I mean, the last active driver that did run it at North Wilkesboro, if I'm not mistaken, when Tony Stewart and Dale Jr. both retired, they were the last active guys to run at North Wilkesboro when the series ran there. Actually, no, not even then. I think Jeff Gordon was the last one, if I'm not mistaken, because Jeff Gordon came into the series back in the 90s. He ran at North Wilkesboro. I think that was close to his rookie season. But it's a track that's just got a lot of history. There's a lot of stories to be told if those walls could actually speak, and it's just going to be fun, dude. It's just going to be a blast to watch. Watching some of these drivers try to figure this track out, and it's going to bring a much needed economic boost back into this community, and it's going to be fun to watch. I'm definitely going to have my eyes glued to the TV set that night. It's going to be a Saturday night race. Let me see here. Yeah, it's actually a Sunday night race. I'm gonna have to DVR it because I'm gonna be on the road. Sunday, May 21st at 5:00 our time. The NASCAR All-Star Open at North Wilkesboro Speedway. It's a 100-lap event. They're going to run 62.5 miles. The All-Star Open is going to be broken up into segments. The ultimate goal is to win yourself a spot in the All-Star race itself. you're going to have somebody, the winner obviously transfers in, and then you're going to have a transfer spot. It's usually like second place is going to transfer into the event itself. They're also going to have a fan vote for fans to text or tweet or whatever, what driver they want to, participate in the actual All-Star event. And then after that, it's going to be, hold on, where? Okay, so later that night at 7:00 on Sunday is going to be the actual All-Star race. It is 200 laps, 125-mile event, so it's going to run pretty fast.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's records or checkers. I mean, there's no points for second place. It's a non-points paying event. It's all about the money. $1 million to the winner. And it's going to be.
I'm looking over the packages they have. Because
First year,
one of them like got my attention on it, but the individual hospitality for like the 19th to the 21st, the 3-day package is like $2,750.
That's not bad. That's really not bad at all.
Well, the parking pass is 1 per 4 guests. VIP considered services, catering buffet including soft drinks, water, beer, wine. Jesus, it's not bad at all.
And there's only one campground left.
Yeah.
So,
and is that like a what do you call it? The box seats?
What, the campgrounds or the hospitality suites?
Hospitality. Are you gonna like have because they're like $50,000 for a box seat.
Okay, so the hospitality suites are gonna be, they're located along the backstretch. It's an open air reserve seating because Wilkesboro is not like when you go to a modern NASCAR track and you've got the front stretch where they've got that big, tall, towering, structure. Yeah. You've got luxury suites in there, and then the spotters stand on top of that whole building right there, and you got the media booths and everything kind of mingled in amongst all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
North Wilkesboro is small.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
So it's not one of those.
I mean,
it's if NASCAR does what I want them to do with this track, and it is put it into the schedule as a regular points paying event, this will become one of the marquee events of the season. This will be one of the crown jewel events, so to speak, or the Grand Slam of NASCAR type event. The luxury suites. I mean, honestly, for the people who attended these races back in the 90s, okay, they didn't go sit their butt in a luxury suite somewhere and soak up the air conditioning. No, I mean, it's like going to a ball game. You don't sit in a luxury box, right? You're out amongst the people. You're smelling the smells of the grass, the field, the hot dogs, the beer, the whole 9 yards. I mean, it's an ambience, right? I mean, you have to it's an experience. You have to put yourself in the middle of it. When you go to a NASCAR race and you sit up in a luxury suite, you're missing half of it. I mean, when you're sitting in the grandstands, like when I used to go to Texas Motor Speedway all the time, I used to sit turns right there at turn 1, anywhere from the end of pit road to the entrance of turn 1, right? Because when they're coming into turn 1, they're turning maximum RPMs because they're having to gear down to make that turn, right? And it's the crowd, right? You're standing for most of the race because you're watching your driver go around the track. You're just trying to experience it all. I mean, and one of the coolest experiences at a NASCAR race is, I mean, obviously right there, just before the race starts, they get all the cars broken up into 2 groups so they can get their pit road speed set. And then when they do the parade lap, right, they get the field together. They're double file, 42 cars all the way back, first to last, right? And they're going around the track, at the pace lap speeds, and you hear all that horsepower, and you feel that horsepower as it just kind of slowly drives by you. And then when they drop that green flag for the very first time, right? everybody's on edge. You know, nobody is sitting. I mean, they're all standing. They're all looking at the start finish line. But when they come into turn one, right, the wind hasn't really picked up yet, right? But when those cars turn and they hit that 23-degree banking, that's at Texas Motor Speedway, the exhaust is pointed right at you, right? So when they pass by, you hear that, you know, you hear the wind kicking off the front of the car. And then you see, because the air pressures in the tires are so low that they're hitting that dip in between turns 1 and 2, and you see sparks fly out from underneath the car. But you get that octane smell, that exhaust smell, right? And then when they come back around for lap 2 at speed, and they do that exact same thing, you don't feel the wind coming off of those cars until they've already passed you, right? You feel that horsepower in your chest.
Yeah.
And there is no other feeling like it. The NFL doesn't have it. Baseball doesn't have it. The NBA, the NHL, no other professional sports have that. And the only thing that even remotely comes close to having that horsepower hitting you right in the chest is the NHRA. And that's because, you know, those guys are going 300 miles an hour in a quarter mile, you know.
That, or when you're at an air show with the Blue Angels or something.
Yeah, or at an air show. But I mean, for something that consistently, you know, just punishes your senses, you know. And you, at the end of the day, when you walk out of the track, you go back to your car and you're, you know, making dinner, waiting for traffic to thin out before you finally decide to break your stuff down and pack it all up and head home. You feel the wind burn on your face. You're exhausted. Your shoulders are sore for no reason at all. But you just feel content, right? And then you had your clothes that you had on that day just have that exhaust smell, that 119 octane fuel smell in them. And there's no other feeling like it in the entire world. And NASCAR lets you into what's going on behind the scenes, because you can rent, you know, headphones, and they plug into scanners, and you can tune them to your team's scanner frequencies, and you can listen to the spotter and the driver talk to each other. You can listen to the crew chief talk to the driver back and forth. They're exchanging information about how what the car is doing, how they can set it up in the next pit stop, things like that. And and you just get that kind of that inside, like that peek behind the curtain. It gives you another angle upon which to view this sport. I mean, because a lot of people that go to the races and are like, I'm bored because they're just driving fast and turning left. And it's like, put these headphones on and listen for a little bit. And, you know, you're basically sitting in the car with these guys, and you're in their office.
Yeah.
You know, and you're listening to them going off. I mean, there's even a radio show. There's even a show online called NASCAR Radioactive, right? Where they take some of the best sound bites from in-car audio over the past weekend, and they just kind of put it together in this big montage, and it's fucking hilarious, right? I mean, you listen to people like Joey Logano, or you know, like Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, even. I mean, just cussing once up. I mean, just saying everything under the sun, and, you know, and they're like, this car fucking sucks, you know, and they're like, you need to fix this fucking car, and like, they can't turn for shit, you know, and like, they're calling out other guys on the track. They're like, you tell that motherfucker in the 2 car that he bumps me again, I'm going to put his ass in the wall, you know, or I mean, just crazy, dude. I mean, tempers are flying, and it's so great. And, you know, you get the culture that comes to these races, and, you know, everybody's like, oh, they're rednecks with their Confederate flags, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. You get there, you're walking around with beer open in your hand all day. And part of the allure, one of the like unofficial sports of NASCAR, is to go to the racetrack and try to hit the midway and score as much free shit that you're not going to take home as possible.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
So like the last time that I went to a race, it was like, okay, so Grizzly, smokeless tobacco was there, right? Dude, I scored an entire log of dip, and I didn't even and I don't even dip, you know, like I quit dipping years ago, and I'm like, I'm not going to use it, but I know people who do.
Right.
So I'm just going to go here, you know,
Yeah,
free gifts,
you don't get it for yourself. You get it for everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know anybody else that does that though.
What?
Well, here's the thing. My wife,
I did that when I went to go see you.
my wife, okay, when we go on vacation, she has a budget set aside for other people's gifts that didn't come on the trip, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm starting to see the logic here, but this would be perfect, you know, and the money that you take to the track for concessions, merchandise. I mean, every driver has a trailer out on the midway, and sometimes the drivers will come out and make appearances and sign stuff as you're buying it, right? And they don't charge for the autographs like they do like you would see at a Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And they've got the show cars out there where you can like get up and close and personal and just see how these cars are set up, how low they sit to the ground. And every once in a while, if you're lucky, it's usually like the tour sponsor or the series sponsor will have a show car out there, and they'll start it up right there in front of everybody, right? And you get as close as you possibly can to this car, and you feel that exhaust just hit you, like physically it hits you, coming out of those tailpipes. And it's a glorious experience. And I mean, it's one of those, you can take your kids, make sure you got them on a leash so they don't get too far, but it's definitely it's definitely an event that like adults could go and entertain themselves with. But I mean, even if you don't hit up the merchandising trailers, for your driver or your team, I mean, it's just the sights and the sounds of the midway. And then closer you get to the to driver introductions, you start making your way into the track, you get your ticket scanned and everything, you find your seat, you get all situated. A lot of tracks still let you bring a cooler, a respectable sized cooler, into the track.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can't bring any glass bottles, right? So all your beer bottles have to be the aluminum ones or whatever. And I mean, obviously they've got booths and stuff like that you can buy merchandise inside the track, but the food that's there is just phenomenal, right? We're talking like actual foot-long corn dogs, or smoked turkey legs, deep fried turkey legs. I mean, it's just
fried Oreos. Yeah, the best of fair food. Yeah,
fried butter, crap like that. But
yeah,
it when the scheduling works itself out to the point where the three of us can go to a NASCAR race there in Fort Worth, I'm going to be all over that like stink on shit.
Oh hell yeah.
And it's such a good time. I mean, it's definitely one of those events where we're going to have to get a hotel room kind of away from the track, because all the hotels closer to the track are booked. Like,
oh yeah,
unless you're going to book a room like months out. It's
I'm really trying to go to an event in September.
No, not this year. Mostly because I mean, one, with me going to school, I kind of want to keep my absences down to a minimum.
Nerd.
They are part of your grade. Yeah, I know.
Such a nerd.
You know what? For the first time in my academic life, I can wear that title, and I'm going to do so proudly. So get fucked and stay fucked, my sexy friend. But
it's different when you're paying for it.
Yeah, it's different when you're paying for it. I mean, you go to public school, you're like, the fuck do I need this for? I'm joining the infantry.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, this class costs how much? Oh fuck no, I'm gonna ace this thing.
Yeah, my brother-in-law just finished up his master's degree.
Yeah, I mean, like in the fall, dude, I'm gonna start my double major for process tech and safety. So
that's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I'm glad that I have the Hazelwood Act.
Yeah. Those books will fucking eat you alive.
Well, I know. I mean, that's what student loans are for.
Yeah.
So
I
I mean,
thought
I just
more.
so I probably spent like $400 on books at the beginning of the semester this spring, and when I sold them back after I took my last final this spring, I got back 125.
Yeah.
And I would have gotten back more than that, but the English book that we had when we picked them up, they were told, "Oh yeah, there's not going to be another one coming out for a while." Um, about 3 weeks before the semester ended, our English professor announced to us that, "Oh, we're going to be going to the fourth edition, so these books are going to go away." And I'm just like,
I was lucky when I went in. I only have associates. I don't have bachelors. But when I was getting mine, we actually did electronic books. Luckily, so I could actually get the book on my Kindle.
yeah,
There was zero charge.
yeah,
That was
yeah. When I get done, I'm going to have 2 associate's degrees, but
yeah.
and depending on what plan I can get a job with down here, hopefully it's Dow. Um, I'll take advantage of the opportunities that they provide as far as like education are concerned.
Yeah.
Because I want to save a little bit of my Hazelwood for my boys, so that way they can use it.
Yeah.
But
Also, do we want to go to the NRA event next year? It's May 17th and 19th and the 24th. It's in Dallas.
the NRA is in the National Rifle Association NRA.
Yes.
It's when?
May 17th through the 19th,
Yeah, I can't do
2024.
Oh, okay, so next year.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, not
pencil it
this
down.
weekend.
Yeah, pencil it down. I mean,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I mean, as long as there's nothing like terribly pressing going on, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm down for that.
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coworker, my friend, is wanting to go. He goes every year.
Yeah.
Tries to
I
go.
picked up a Remington 710 this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah. A little entry level hunting rifle. It's a 240 Winchester.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, okay. All right. I picked it up for like 325.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. So um I picked it up on Friday and took it out of the gun safe yesterday and broke it down on the dining room table and cleaned it real good and put it back together.
We still need to get yours worked on. I forgot to leave the gun oil from my bag.
Hey,
I think
the one, you know, it, I'm forever a CLP guy, right? I mean, obviously,
right.
I mean, we soaked in it enough to where it like
What
wrote
we
itself
do.
into our DNA.
Yeah.
But shooter's lube is
I've heard that.
amazing stuff.
I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah,
You know what's the
it comes in two
stupid
parts. There's stage one and stage two. The stage one is a solvent, and you don't have to let it sit there and soak. You spray it on the area, let it soak for a couple minutes, and then you can wipe off the majority of what was on there. And then you just take like a dental pick and you just go in and just kind of scrape at the rest, and it's amazing. And then the stage two, which is the lubricant itself, dude, you can use that sparingly because it goes a long way.
Yeah.
I use Lucas gun oil. They actually have a gun
I'm
oil.
sure they do.
And
But I mean, as far as like the
fantastic.
cleaner, because I have a boar snake, and dude,
Yeah.
I love my boar snake. I fucking love that boar snake. I mean, it's less of a hassle than trying to rod the barrel,
Mhm.
right? Because I mean, the brush is inside of it, and then the whole damn thing is a patch, right?
Oh.
So I look down this barrel, and I'm like, there should not be chunks of crap inside my barrel, right? I'm like, no, this is no bueno. So I sprayed some of the solvent down in there and kind of let it soak for like 2 or 3 minutes, and I fished the boar snake through there and I pulled it through, bro. Shiny. I feel like the crab in Moana. I'm like shiny,
Yeah.
And dude, it was Oh, I mean, it just amazing. And right there in the chamber, I mean, I sprayed some of the solvent in there. I took like 3 Q-tips, both ends just came out black, right? I'm like, whoa, what the hell? So I ran that dental hook in there around one time and then sprayed a little bit more solvent and then went around with like 2 or 3 more Q-tips and eventually got it to where like nothing was coming up. And I was just like, ooh, that's so
Yeah.
great. So, I mean, yes, I
Like,
did leave a little bit of crap in the barrel because everybody knows you don't clean your barrel because then you won't shoot, you won't hit anything. But um, but yeah, dude, get that shooter's lube stuff. That stuff is badass. I mean, it's worth every bit that I paid for it. And if I remember right, I only paid like 20 or 30 bucks for both bottles.
yeah, I don't think that's super expensive.
No, it's really not.
Yeah, it's
Um,
more than you'll pay for, the cheap shit, obviously. But
yeah, like the Shoops 9 or I've got this other stuff out there. It's called MX7, I think it is. It's a CLP variant.
yeah.
But but yeah, the shooter's loop stuff, dude, I so totally recommend it.
The only thing I had to like super clean was that Automag. That's only because it was like caked 30 years of oil and everything. I had to put it through a sonic cleaner. And I'll tell you what, you get some purple.
Yeah.
That's what the cleaning solution is purple.
Yeah, the purple stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you just put that in the sonic cleaner, 5 minutes, all that shit was gone. Just everything.
See, that's something too. Because I don't know if you had them when you were at your company, Chris, but we were living high on the hog. We got those safe clean solvent tanks that you see in mechanic shops.
Oh yeah, we had those.
Okay, dude. We would constantly like come back from the range. There would be fist fights and shoving matches over to who could get into the because one, if it was cold outside, that solvent was warm.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it tore up your skin, but dude, that solvent was warm. I did not care. And like as a 50 gunner, bro, there was not a time when I did not have any part of my block, bolt group in there at all. I mean, because
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it made everything kind of turn white a little bit because it's super dried out the metal. But I mean,
Yeah.
you just put some oil back on that son bitch, dude. You're good as hell.
Yeah, you oil it. Just you don't cake it on there, but you oil it real good right after you take it out of the tank, and you're gold, man.
It just did. We had one guy, he learned a lesson the hard way. Don't put the plastic parts like your hand guards and your buttstock. Don't put those in the solvent tank because they will turn white. Like super white.
Oh yeah. Learned that the hard way.
One thing I could never figure out though is like you remember the old M16A2s? They had the long buttstock. They were all like talking about butt strokes, right?
Right.
Yeah. Where the 3 to 5 second rush where you have to like plant and then do roll to your non-firing side. Try to do that with an M4 with those old ass like stocks that they had on them. We were like, bro,
yeah, this ain't gonna happen.
You're gonna cut somebody's jugular because this thing's gonna shatter, or you're gonna dislocate an elbow or a shoulder when you go to do a 3 to 5 second rush because this thing's gonna come apart. I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Oh, those A2s, that was satisfying, man. You do a butt stroke with that thing, and you're connected.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think one of the AR, like one of the next 2 AR platforms that I'm going to build an M2 clone, or an A2 clone rather.
Yeah,
just because and fuck around to find out. Think I won't get a 20 or a 204
203
203. That's right, 203. Think I won't. I mean, because you can get them still.
Oh yeah,
you can get anything.
Yeah, you can get those
get a fucking cannon.
Fucking grenades or I don't know if they're full explosive, but
no, I mean at best
take one of those
like
to
a smoke grenade.
Okay, you take one of those to the chest at close range, and you're right.
even the paint rounds. You remember those?
Oh hell yeah,
the blue ones.
Hell yeah.
It was always funny. Like it was always a crapshoot. You go to the 203 range, and you'd always wait. Whose round would not come out of the barrel? Right? Yeah, this one guy go like that, and he had paint coming out of the breech. And that shit stains everything it touches.
Oh yeah. It's like those fucking money the die packs they put in the banks put in the money bags. It's
yeah,
basically
yeah.
safe.
It was horrible. Well, guys, that's
Yes.
a pretty good episode this week. So, I think we should go ahead and try to land this plane.
Yeah. Nerd Sports 108 down the drain. Just check us out for anything newsworthy on what the hell for this week. And have fun, guys. Love you guys.
Laters.
Later.